Hello and welcome. It's the Tenerife Pod, the bonus episode. Well, quite frankly, we had some really good feedback and stuff, and some bits and bobs that we thought we'd kind of bring up and just kind of comment on from last Thursday's pod. So I'm Jenny T, and I'm here with my co-hosts. We have Steve Ballard.
Hello.
And Chris Elkington.
Hello.
How are we doing, guys?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, really good. Really nice. It's good to be back quite quickly as well.
Very good. Well, first of all, there was a couple of things that we wanted to do today, because I know on the last pod we got cut off at the beginning and we were talking about ourselves.
What happened?
I think, don't ask me. If we're going to talk technicalities, I'm not the person, if I'm honest.
YouTube happened.
YouTube.
Yeah, there's something with
It
YouTube.
possibly still is.
Yes.
It might well be now.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Could we be talking to thin air? Who knows? We just don't know. So for those that missed it, I'm Jenny T. I am one of your hosts for the Tenerife Pod. I work on Oasis FM as the morning presenter weekdays between 9 and 12, and I do lots of other bits and bobs as well. Steve, who the heck are you?
I am. Who the heck am I? I'm Steve. I'm the afternoon show presenter on Oasis FM, and I got here originally in 2016 and permanently in 2019. So I've been here for around 11 years.
And Chris Elkington.
Well, I worked out, get this, that between us, we've got 55 years experience of living in Tenerife. Now, yes, I've got the bulk of that.
You're doing all the heavy lifting here,
I think you guys have got about 10 each. I've got 35. And I originally came here as a rep, then worked in hotels, and then my family started our own business in 1997. And we're still here, Jen, still here.
Still here, and live on YouTube right now is exactly where we are on Oasis FM Tenerife. Can I just address something before we get into anything else? Because we are live. Obviously, you can listen to us from tomorrow, but anyone looking at my nose right now, I've got like a big scab on my nose. Can I just
happened?
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing, but I just need
More
to.
embarrassing the better.
I need to address the elephant in the room. So I went to Mercadona and I bought the nose pore strips. Have you ever done those? Like you clean your pores with a nose pore strip.
Oh yes, yeah.
They're really
No,
odd. Right.
no, I've never used
They're
them.
really oddly,
I know what they
weirdly satisfying. So anyway, I was like,
Do you mean like a sort of blackhead remover
yeah,
thing?
it's that basically.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
because there is nothing more satisfying
right.
than squeezing a blackhead.
So I was having a bit of a self-care day. I was like, right, I've moisturised everywhere. I had a face mask on, my eye masks on. I was going to do one of them. I left it on too long, took it off, and it took half my skin off with it.
And we've changed your microphone so we can see you.
Yeah, and
if you'd had your previous one, you would have been able to.
So
you would have been able to hide.
If you would rather just listen to this, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Spotify, Amazon Music, etc.
The dangers of self-care there. That's like, may that be a lesson to all of us. Read the instructions on the packet.
I did,
and don't leave it on too long.
No, yeah, to be fair, it wasn't the nose strip's fault. I got sort of sidetracked and I was like, oh, better take this off. Anyway, enough about me and my scabby nose. I want to ask something because I keep getting asked, obviously last year we did the Tenerife Entertainment Pod and I keep getting asked, where's Ash gone? Where is Ash? So
Well, Ash obviously did the Tenerife Entertainment Uncovered pod, but we soon realised that obviously we needed to get these cameras and go live, and also the fact that just doing entertainment was a bit restricting, so hence doing the Tenerife pod. But the news is Ash will be back.
woohoo!
Oh yes, Ash will be back.
I mean,
Specifically when we've got entertainment-based pods. And you know, I'm in constant contact with Ash. We live by each other, we're friends, and yeah, he's going to be coming back on. So don't worry, Ash will be returning.
We look forward to it. We'll see you soon, Ash.
In fact, Steve, you're going on holiday soon, I think. So
I
maybe we could bring
am,
him in.
yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
When are you going away?
I am the 6th of April, so Easter week. Yeah.
Oh wow! So maybe Jen, we could bring Ash in that week. What do you think?
That would be nice. I've given me a bit of time to prepare myself for the return of Ash as well. So yeah, that sounds good to me. I don't know about you guys, but I've had some really lovely feedback and read some lovely comments about the pod from last week. Have you? What's your guys' thoughts?
No, people have just been saying how great it is and how nice it looks, because they've obviously they've seen our reels and things like that, and they've said it's a really good idea and it looks really good and quite professional. which is
Well,
nice
we kind of bombarded people with reels.
We did.
Over the weekend. That was the idea, so people obviously could get to see it. And, the idea is that hopefully they'll go and watch or listen to the whole thing. The feedback I've had is that people have, because the one thing that people... I mean, there's been a lot of comments about the taxis and various other things.
Yeah.
But the one thing people have actually said to me was about the idea of the flexibility on the 180 days if you own a property. And
what were they saying? What kind of things what did they have to say?
That it was a good idea.
Yeah.
That, to be honest, what a sensible idea that would be. I mean, obviously, with the EES system, it'd be easier to manage because they can tell when people are in and out and all the rest of it. Eventually there won't be any passport stamps needed whatsoever. Yeah. So it's easier to control. And the fact that it was a fair way of letting people who own properties to be able to use the property they own and have invested in. So it was nice to get a feedback where people liked tonight.
Yeah, what's that feel like? Chris for president. Vote for Chris.
Yes, let's get. I'm voting.
Right, love that. I have obviously seen there's been a lot of sort of comments on some of the other reels we did. One big one that a lot of people had something to say about was about the taxis. Have you seen some of these comments?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously tracked that one. We put it on the Tenerife Entertainment Awards. We actually spread these across Oasis FM, Canary Weekly, and the Tenerife Entertainment Awards. And the Tenerife Entertainment Awards is very a lot of the followers on there are people who don't live here. So and that obviously, that situation of taxis at the airport is something that is obviously affecting holidaymakers. So there was some quite interesting one. Carolyn Holmes, who lives in the UK, said this is no different to the UK. All taxis can only pick up in their licensed area. It would be great if you sent to the airport 60 miles away, in my case, and was able to pick up someone waiting who might want to come back in my area. But this can only happen if it's been pre-booked, so that's quite sensible. Keith Young left a very, very short comment. He said, never had a problem getting a taxi at the airport.
There was quite a few of those I saw, like never had a problem, not a problem to be, never been an issue. I saw quite a few.
Maybe, I don't know what you think, Steve, but maybe those people haven't been recently and haven't been on busy days.
I'm going to say that's probably the case because having worked at the airport as well, there are lots of, obviously, your package holiday transfer, but people don't often take them, and they come to the reps and they say, right, we don't want the transfer, great, I'll cross your name off. There's the taxis out the door on the left-hand side, and when you walk out there, and there is a queue a mile long, there must be 100 people there. They can be quite quick some days, but other days, it's disaster.
Absolutely. Really... this was a good one, Lee Irving. The problem is, Arona want the whole island. Yet they won't allow Grenadier or San Miguel to pick up in Americus or Adeje. It should work both ways. I think it does. But as usual, Arona won't allow it. All they want is the monopoly. Grenadier and San Miguel should maintain their area. Lee, we've got some news for you. Jonathan Foster said the charge of the taxis is a joke. Now, this was one that we're going to address, all right? He said every time we get a taxi from our hotel into town, the charge was different and varied between €7.30 and €12 for exactly the same journey. He says they took different routes. Okay, fair enough, so that would make a difference. Very often, we all have apps that can show traffic jams, so maybe they want to avoid traffic. The drivers charge different supplements, which is a con, as the supplement should have been 60 cents but went up to €2.70. Now, somebody replied to this, Craig DW, I know lives here, who said 60 cents is when ordered by phone and 2.10 is the airport supplement. The 2.10 can only be added if picking up from an airport or ferry port. Now, absolutely spot on, Craig. All right, because I got the official taxi charges from the BOC. So if people don't know what the BOC is, it's something...
because I'm not 100% sure.
Well, they're in Spain. Let's start with Spain. There is an official, they call it the official gazette, but it's the official bulletin. For anything to become from a proposal to an official decree or law, it has to be published in the BOE, which is the Bulletin Oficial de España. Now, for something to become in just the Canary Islands, each autonomous region has its own. So there is the BOC, which is the Bulletin Oficial de Canarias.
Makes a lot of sense.
Now, there is also a BOP,
okay,
which is the provincial one, the Bulletin Oficial Provincial, which means there is one for Santa Cruz de Tenerife and the smaller islands, and one for Gran Canaria and Lanzarote and Fuerteventura. That's the other province. Now, this one was published in the BOC in 2024, and it's the official charges. So it's understandable why people think it could be confusing, because there's up to 6 different rates that they can charge, all right? So you have a daytime rate, which is from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. Then you have a nighttime rate, which is from 10 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning and Sundays and holidays. And then there is an extra supplement on days like Christmas Eve, January the 5th, January the 6th, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, stuff like that. Yeah? So generally, as Craig said, if you phone for a taxi, they will charge you 60 cents. Right. So if a hotel calls a taxi for you, there's a 60-cent supplement, because they've had to come from the taxi rank to where you are.
That doesn't mean one that you've hailed in the street, seen the light on, or gone to the rank for.
No. This is when it's ordered by telephone.
Phone. And that includes if you phone it. Like if you call
if it's called, okay. and basically they are directed via the Corporativa. Yeah. Then there is a 60 cent. Right. Because obviously when you phone, you don't phone an individual taxi driver.
No, that's right.
You phone the Corporativa and they distribute it, right. And that's when the charge is.
That makes sense.
Now, if you're at a port or airport and people turn around and go, ports in Tenerife, don't forget, this is Canarias. There are huge ports across the islands. And very often, I mean, if you phone for a taxi, for example, from Los Cristianos port, then you are going to get a supplement of 60 cents plus 2.10, which is 2.70.
Right.
However, if you hail one and you're at the port or an airport, you will get charged 2.10.
Because you've hailed, but it's still the port charge.
Correct.
That comes in, right.
And the same at the airport.
Yeah.
Port and airport's the same thing. Yeah. So you can have a 60-cent supplement if you just called one, a 2.10 if you hail one at a port or airport, but then 2.70 if you phoned one at a port or airport. Now, on top of that, the initial charge on the daytime rate is €3.85 for when you get in the cab. It's called flag raising. Yeah. So in other words, that's the taxi going from off service to operating.
It's like the minimum fare that you could be charged for getting in the taxi.
If you got in a taxi and went 2 meters down the road,
it's still 3.
Okay.
Correct. So in the daytime, that's €3.85. In the nighttime, that's €4.25. On the special dates, it's €6.54. Now that €3.85 is plus the other charges. So you could have €3.85 plus 60, €3.85 plus 2.10, or €3.85 plus 2.70. All right? Now, there is also a per kilometre charge. What do you think, Jen, is the minimum distance that a taxi will charge you for or take you?
So the minimum distance that before it starts...
No. In other words, the minimum distance of the journey. Like you said before it goes 2 meters. What is the minimum distance? Just have a guess.
Right, okay. Like,
I'm not going to ask you, Steve, because you know.
I feel like it's going to be really short, though, because...
Have a guess.
Like 100 metres?
No. It's 1.5 kilometres. So even if you went 100 metres, they would charge you for 1.5 kilometres. And the charge per kilometre is €1.35 on daytime and €1.55 on nighttime and holidays. So this is why it's quite possible you could have a journey, as Jonathan said, of one of €7.30 and one of €12 if one was in the daytime and there was a taxi there, or if you called it and got an extra €60, or if it was nighttime and you had the nighttime tariff, not the daytime tariff for the flag raising and getting into the taxi in the first place.
Imagine you're going out in the afternoon to a place, you stay there all day and have drinks, you stay past 10 p.m, you're taking exactly the same journey back to where you started from, but it's going to be a different rate because it's gone 10 p.m.
And not just that, it's a different rate per kilometre as well.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's a different kilometre rate.
And you phoned that one rather than getting it at the rank.
And your taxi driver might decide he doesn't want to take the TF1 past Cyan Park because there's something's happened. So he's going to go on the back roads, which will give you a different kilometre rate. So you could effectively have that as a different...
Absolutely, 100% correct. And that is why you get the different rates. And these are published in the BOC. These are law. These are the rates that they have to charge. And this is what they do charge.
I have read on Facebook forums a lot before about people getting conned and stuff. Do you think it's because there's a lack of understanding on this? Because I mean, like I say, I've lived here 12 years and I knew there were different charges, but I didn't know like in detail. But then I have read, if you ask the taxi driver to give you a receipt, then all of a sudden the price comes down. I've heard things like that. Do you think there is an element of that, or it's just a lack of understanding?
I don't think so. Having
Okay.
taken quite a lot of taxis myself from different places, or if I'm going out and I'm not driving, I've never felt ripped off by taxi drivers, and I have always felt the ability to challenge if I feel it was unnecessary. I haven't had to. And actually, taxi drivers are really friendly. If you ask for a receipt, you'll get one.
Yeah.
And listen, there is also the taxi license number is in the cab, and there is also the ability to be able to raise a complaint if you wish. Nobody's hiding any of that information. The taxi drivers aren't.
I think it's important for people to remember it's the same as if you're in a bar or restaurant. There is an official complaints book that you can ask for. I mean, there's situations here when some of the comments are saying that we asked for this and they got aggressive and all the rest of it. I've never ever in 35 years come across an aggressive taxi driver if I have been nice to them.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, if you're going to be falling over drunk, potentially thrown up in the cab, acting like a complete and utter a-hole, then there's going to be an issue. But in general, have you?
No. No, it's never happened. And don't get me wrong, I've also been inebriated in a taxi, but I'm a very well-behaved.
Have you had to deal with situations as a rep where people have said that?
Yeah, loads. There used to be, morning duties in the receptions would be usually about something that happened the night before, and taxis would come up regularly, and it's trying to explain that taxis on this island are not. It's a different situation. It's like London cabs, Hackney cabs, right? That meter there is the proof, is the evidence. It's not like we used to get a lot of taxis back in Swindon in the UK when I was there, where it goes on, he'd press the kilometre reset button on his Saab or whatever, or his Skoda, and then he would have the rates written down and he could make up whatever he wanted. When he's got a meter in front of you, people say, oh, but they can change it. Well, they can't. They are adding on the correct amount of things, as Chris has just explained, and it's really hard to be because they don't realise.
We'll put these charges. We'll put a copy of it on the website, so people can see it, because it's it is something that's a big talking point, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you break it down, it's relatively simple. But if you're arriving here on holiday or you take a couple of different trips, you're going to question it, aren't you? Having said that, he's saying that one journey was €7.30, which is what, £6, and the other one was €12, which is a tenner. I don't remember getting a taxi in England for anywhere near that these days.
No.
My goodness, no.
The only thing I was going to say, and I don't even know if I actually should say it, but I've had one taxi one time that when I got in, and now knowing what I know from what we learned on the last pod, I probably can guess why. He was like, oh, the thing's not working. So he gave me a price, and that was a price I paid, but he was like, you have to pay it in cash.
Oh,
So obviously from now I'm thinking, okay, so he was picking up in his wrong thing.
How long ago was that?
It was about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Well, I have had experience of the taxi driver went the wrong way, and I said, where are you going? And he said, oh, no, I'm really sorry. We got to the end anyway. I think the meter read €8, and he said, oh, call it 5, because that's my fault and I'm sorry.
Oh,
So
well, that's fair enough then.
Dishonest taxi drivers, I'm not sure. There might be one or two bad
Well,
apples.
also as well, they have to. People have to remember their licenses are at risk if
Absolutely.
Yeah.
if they're not careful. So
And they're human. How many times have you just gone somewhere on autopilot?
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I'm like, where am I going? Right, let's move on then to something else that was a big talking point. Let's talk Teide. So, Chris, obviously we talked on the last pod about, the earthquakes and the seismic things. Give us a little update, because since the last pod, there's been a few bits and bobs happened, and you're the man that's gonna.
the seismic things. Seismic things.
I think it was.
I'm one with the people. I'm one with the people. They know what I mean, don't you?
Well, we put an article on Friday, I think it was, or Saturday morning, can't remember which day, which actually said that there hadn't been any activity for almost a week, and then there was about 60 low tremors detected by IGN. However, there was a bigger one over the weekend in La Orotava, which is on the north of the island, and that was 2.3 on the Richter scale, which was felt by the public.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so no damage, but obviously if people feel it, you feel the tremor, the rumble, the
I
windows
don't think
rattle.
I've ever felt one. What do you feel? Just a little bit of a wobble?
Well, did the bed move is what's...
I don't think mine does. I think it's firmly in place.
It's a strange one. My parents used to live in Greece.
Yeah.
Because they were reps before I was. That's kind of like going into...
Really?
Yeah, they were. My mum worked for Sovereign and my dad... No, my dad worked for Sovereign, my mum worked for First Choice, and they've been all over Portugal and stuff. But they lived in Greece, and they've experienced this. Greece has quite a lot of earthquakes in the course of a year. And my dad said it was strange because it's not a rumble, it's a kind of sideways movement. So you sort of feel unsteady on your feet.
I've not experienced one either, I must be honest.
Really?
Yeah, he said it was a bit like getting up too quickly, when you feel a little bit shaky, but it's because the earth is moving that way as opposed to going up and down. It's really weird. Apparently, it's a really weird feeling.
Okay, well, I think what's more interesting is something that we've published this morning, and that is that the Santa Cruz Council, which obviously is the capital of Tenerife, it's the capital of the province. The Santa Cruz Council have set up a specialist department who are studying what they would do in the case of an eruption, in respect of can they accommodate people who would be evacuated from the areas it would be predicted to be taking place. Now, they don't expect it to affect Santa Cruz directly because it's the other side of the island, as we said the other day, heading towards the north of Garachico and that area, which is more along the north coast past La Orotava, where the one was just fell. But in actual fact, they've got a specialist department now in case. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but does this sound as though they know more than they're letting on?
This was kind of like what I was trying to say on the last pod, because there just seems to be so many little bits of information now and again, like we've talked about a few things. I feel like they do. I feel like there's something happening. They don't want to scare us, but they're just like, oh, we're just getting ready for it. And then behind, what's that saying where the legs are going underwater, but on top, they're
like
just,
a swan.
Yeah, the swan.
And I have to say, when I read that article this morning, my first thought that came into my head was they're getting ready for something. Whether it happens now or later, they're getting ready. Because there must be an indication that something could happen. I mean, they talk about the short to medium term, don't they?
Yeah, but what they're saying is because the volcano, as we discussed, has entered a different phase of activity, that they need to update their action plan, their emergency, their contingency.
Yeah.
So, and one of the contingencies now, because obviously they're now saying, okay, this is where all the seismic swarms are, this is where they think it's going to come, as you explained last time, Steve, out the side of the volcano, not out the top, that they want to be in a position that if, for example, the whole of the region was evacuated, we need to know where people are going to go, because as La Palma proved, people obviously were in makeshift accommodation in sports halls, on camp beds and all this sort of thing.
And that's the thing. I think the learnings from La Palma will have come into that as well. I think if you're updating your plan, you would use examples of what's happened previously in recent history. So they would have learned loads from La Palma in terms of what happens to evacuated people, where do we put them, what's the situation with, do you evacuate the entire island or that one side of it? So yeah, I guess they've learned a lot from La Palma.
And there's also going to be more simulations, as there was in Garachico in September, more simulations later on this year in other areas along the northwest coast.
Okay. So if you're holidaying there, you could even be involved in that potentially, or not really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they used members of the public all the public were involved in it with the emergency services. So they had the full emergency services there with people as though they'd been affected. Some people were in the streets as though they'd been injured. Some people were obviously having to pick up their belongings as though they'd left home. It was a full simulation.
I did one of those in the UK with the emergency services.
Really?
Yeah, at a college. And what they did, they got the performing arts students, us, to simulate injuries. So
but that was a drama, wasn't
you'd
it?
go in, I was like, but you'd
I've got
go...
images of Steve
you'd go
like
in
jazz
the morning,
leaping in and be like, oh no.
Limping in, doing a little twirl. No, you'd go into it was a school during school holidays. These were the whole school. And the fire brigade were there, the ambulance, the police service and all the rest of it were there. And you were given a card with your injuries on it. So you would then, so if you had a broken arm, you would, as soon as an ambulance person or a medic touched you, it's running, you had to properly act out so that they could decide what was wrong with you. Because they had, the simulation was that real, the paramedics would come in having no idea what's wrong with you. So you would have to simulate all of the pain and all of the things that you were doing. It was really cool. It was very much
Murder mystery type thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
it was. But it was really good.
Really cool.
So I can only imagine that's what they're doing there as well, is you have to make it, and they told us, it has to be as real as possible for these paramedics and these emergency
Yeah, and
service workers.
they used the residents of Garachico for it to make it more real for that, and also for the residents to experience what the emergency services go through and what they actually do and how they deal with things, how they react. So it was a really interesting exercise.
Yeah, I guess you feel like sometimes we're so new to it, but it's also so new to them. It's not something they've experienced. Well, keep your eyes on Canarian Weekly for more updates on that, is what I would say. Another very serious thing that we touched on the last pod was Sunday roasts.
This has caused a stir.
It's caused quite the stir, hasn't it?
What feedback have you had?
Yeah, well, I posted on my own page and got a couple of people saying Olive Garden is the number one.
Do you know what?
In Los Cristianos.
A deserved mention.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
because
definitely
it is
one of the
good.
biggest.
Yeah,
One of my favourite comments
I had
was...
people messaging me about the vault, and I was like, I gave the vault a mention.
Yeah.
Well,
Honourable mention.
I was going to say, a few comments I saw was like, how could you not even mention the vault? It's like, what? Did you watch the pod? Because
Obviously
you
not.
did. Yeah, we absolutely did. Another one that got mentioned was the Scotch Corner, which is in San Eugenio, I believe,
yeah.
and the Sun Inn in Tavascus.
Okay.
And what kind of feedback have
Well,
you had,
I
Steve?
a really interesting one, because I've got detail of the social media for the Winchester, so I do a lot of the posting there and things like that. And the Google reviews come to my email. So it says, Winchester, you've received a review. I always read them, because why not? And there was a nice one there from MD, who has previously done 148 reviews.
Of roast dinners,
Google.
or just
I don't know
general?
whether it was roast dinners or not.
Or roast dinner pro.
But when you look at these levels of so local guide, it says, I don't know if it's local here, but it's probably.
So, in other words, what you're saying is it's not somebody who's only done a review.
Yeah, it's not their first
they've
reviews.
done a
They've done
lot.
reviews and bars, and it said, really nice dining experience with views of the sea and the football. Cool. We were limited on time, but we're going back for a Sunday roast very soon. And we went here because the Winchester got a mention on the podcast.
Which they put the Canarian
podcast.
Weekly pod,
They
didn't
did,
Which is fair enough, because that reel was on the
That's
Canarian
right,
Weekly,
that's right,
that
it was.
particular one. So,
Power
but wow.
of the pod. The power of the pod
Indeed.
already.
Yeah, so we went here because of the mention it got on the Tenerife podcast, on the Tenerife pod.
So what you're saying is you're biased.
Here we go again.
Your biased worked.
Yes. And I did, if you remember, I did say, don't come at me. I don't work Sundays, so it's not me cooking it specifically. We've got a very talented...
So when are you going to start talking about the quiz at the Winchester that you started on
Well,
Friday?
since you mentioned it, I never brought this up. 9 o'clock quiz on Friday at Winchester.
With a wink. I actually tried a different Sunday roast on
go
Sunday
on.
just gone
Okay.
at the Night Owl. So we were doing the fundraising event, which I also mentioned.
Oh, for
last pod,
Natalie.
For Natalie, which went really well, actually. It was a great day. Thank you to everybody that came. Raised a good amount of money for Natalie, who was very emotional and actually told us at the end that her boiler had just gone as well. So she was like she was just very,
How
very
disappointing
grateful.
would that be?
Well,
You're
I
raising
feel
money
like
because you've broke your back and you've got to
You're
pay
gonna
for your
spend it on
boiler.
a
I know.
boiler.
I said you should have told us before, because then we'd have really gone extra hard, like with the
Boiler
sob
aid?
story.
Boiler aid.
Or at least
Yep.
found some kind of. Is it a plumber that? Who
Well,
does
it's
the
not an
boiler?
electrician, Jen, is it?
Who is it? A plumber?
It's a plumber, yeah, because it's water, and water and electricity don't mix. We know that.
Don't hire me as your handyman.
Definitely not.
Well, I'd give it a go. I'd do anything for a bit.
But
of
what
cash.
was this? So you had the Sunday roast at the Night Owl.
Yeah, it was really nice actually. It was really good.
good.
I'm not sure. The carrots weren't. I thought of you when I tucked into my carrot. It wasn't crinkly, but
That means it's good.
I don't know.
Oh, right, okay.
The rest of it was good. I had all 3 meats because I couldn't decide. So gammon, beef, and chicken, and it was nice. So yeah, shout out. I never knew that place existed. By the way, have you ever been in there?
No.
I know we all went.
Of course not. We didn't know where it was.
Of
But I
course.
will do.
We had to
But I've got
Google
to
it.
ask
It's
you,
lovely.
how did the disco keeping the kids silent go? How did that go?
Got rave reviews from not only the kids, the adults as well. The kids,
Well, you're bound to off the
Oh,
parents.
yeah.
aren't
Kids-
you? You
the
take
kids-
the kids away for an hour.
We had
and
another-
all you do
we
is
had-
see them
yeah.
doing aerobics.
We had
in the
another couple
corner
of beers while Jenny was keeping them
Basically,
occupied.
It was the venue, like I said, was quite good because we actually had the Soul Brothers inside performing, and then I was outside with the kids. It was really fun. I went back to my old school like kids entertainer, like kids disco days. We did, yeah, it was a lot of fun. But actually, a lot of the adults were like, "Hang on, why did the kids get to do the silent disco and we don't?" And I hadn't really prepared anything, but I was like, "Well, you have to come on." To
So did you
Silent
actually do
Adventures.
one for adults as well?
Well, I
off the
didn't
cuff, or-
because we only had a limited time, and obviously we didn't want to distract from what was on the stage and stuff. Could have been a bit confusing, but I mean, I'm open to it. You contact me. You want some
Absolutely.
silent disco shenanigans? I'm here.
I mean, I've been to one. I've been to one before. Have you ever been to a silent disco?
I've not
the-
been to a silent disco in a venue. I've only done a silent adventure.
But do you know what? It's the funniest thing ever. I mean, I went to one in Ibiza. And I'm not named. We used to work in Ibiza. We used to have a business over there. And I went to one in Ibiza, and there was 3 DJs with 3 different types of music. So you had kind of a soul music, dance music, whatever. Yeah. So people were dancing in different ways, which is hilarious. In the because you're watching people dancing to the music you're listening to. But the best bit is when you go to the bar for a drink, because you've got headphones on.
Oh my god.
So you're like, all right, mate, come a pint, please. And then you take your headphones off, and it's completely silent. You're the only one shouting. It's
And the
brilliant.
barman's just
I
looking
love
at us.
it.
They're
as if to
so
say,
As if
fun.
to
They're
go,
so fun.
what are you talking about?
And I think a lot of venues and hotels and stuff are starting to, because of all these restrictions with noise and stuff, it actually is a really good idea. And just to say, like you've promoted your quiz, our headphones just have 3 channels as well. If you
Oh,
need
really?
it. So
Oh,
you,
wow.
that you
Okay.
can hire the equipment, or like we did one actually for Amp Camp Kids, a fundraiser last year. I did a full-on silent disco at their venue. So yeah, you can have the 3 channels. We can.
Cool.
It's another option.
Didn't know that.
But yeah, so we'll have to think of another. What's your favourite for next week's episode?
Friday.
Yeah,
Friday
which is
this week.
Friday.
Yeah.
And we are going to be talking about one of the biggest days on the Tenerife calendar on Friday. We're going to be talking St. Patrick's Day. Am I allowed to mention our special guest that we've got coming
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't dare now, since I messed up his name a minute ago. Fergal is coming in. Fergal Flaherty from Hole in the Wall and The Cladder. I mean, if anyone's going to know about St. Patrick's
Do you know, I'm
Yeah.
actually really excited about this because we wanted to get him on the Tenerife
we
Entertainment.
did, yeah.
pod,
I had
but-
half an interview prepped.
But obviously it didn't work out. And I contacted him the other day. He's in New Orleans. So we're actually doing it on Friday because he's not back on Thursday. So he gets back Thursday night and coming straight in here on Friday. But I think it's interesting because obviously this week, if you're a bar owner, this is particularly the owner of an Irish bar, this is the busiest week of the year. It's amazing how everything comes at the same time. Because, and I mean, obviously, I know you're not into horse racing, Jen.
No.
But it's Cheltenham Week.
It's massive.
Which
It's
is
just
huge
started today.
with bookings and everything. Then on Saturday, you've got the last day of the Six Nations.
Yes.
So you have all that on one day. And then, obviously, a couple of days later, you've got St. Patrick's Day. Do you remember a couple of years ago? And also, of course, you've got Carnival this weekend
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years ago, we were doing, talking of the Vault, we were doing St. Patrick's Day live for Oasis FM at the Vault.
I do.
Which
And it was
is-
on the same day as the Carnival
That's
Parade.
right.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. And
Good.
we were right on the
We were on the
run,
route.
weren't we?
Yeah. And it was like, what time should we like think about getting out of here? Because otherwise, all the roads are going to be closed, and the carnival's going to be coming through, and we really need to be getting out of here.
Absolutely. Talking of which, I need to give a quick shout out to Magsy, who's the compere down at the Market Tavern in Los Cristianos, which is roughly by Paloma Beach, opposite Arona Gran. Always seem to come back to Arona Gran, don't we? He's roughly where the Carnival Parade starts from. And he listened till he watched the bit about us gate crashing the parade and just went, "This is comedy gold." I was
great
like, so
story.
thanks, Magsy. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank
True
you.
story. And also, can I just mention, Maggie Leonard also commented on that, because obviously Maggie was one of the original presenters at Oasis,
The OG queen.
and yeah, she was on it as well. So that was nice that she commented on it from
memories.
the UK.
Thank you to everyone that's commented on our reels, on the YouTube, on like everywhere that you've commented. We really appreciate it, and we really want to encourage that to keep happening.
Absolutely.
So make sure not only do you share this with your friends, but listen again on Friday and watch on YouTube.
And because we're on YouTube, you can subscribe so that you'll know as soon as we're coming on that if you want to watch along. So if you're subscribed to Oasis FM Tenerife, you'll know because you'll get a notification.
And also, if you like and subscribe on Spotify, you will automatically receive it on your Spotify and Amazon Music and any other platform you get it from as well. And obviously, thanks to BGR Solutions for
Thank you,
sponsoring
BGR
the pod.
Solutions. I'm going to pop and get some more Savlon on my nose. Thanks, guys.